Welcome to Join the Huddle. I'm your host, Deirdre Malloy. I'm joined by our special guest, Michelle Rankin, Vice President of the New York, New Jersey Super Bowl Host Committee Volunteer Program. Michelle is a New Jersey native and has previously worked for companies such as American Express and Merrill Lynch. At American Express, she held both operations and marketing roles in London and New York. Born in Hoboken, New Jersey, she currently resides in Boonton Township, where she was mayor for 2011 and 2012. Michelle is currently a town council member in Boonton. She earned her MBA in finance from New York University and Bachelor of Science in Marketing from University of Dayton. Michelle is married and has 3 children. Michelle, welcome.
Thank you so much, Deirdre. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you. I'm excited about this opportunity to speak with you and to share with everyone how they can join the huddle. Tell me briefly, how did you become interested in football?
Well, I've always been a huge sports fan.
Okay.
But I have 3 kids, as you mentioned, and when my sons went away to college, football now became the must-watch sport with both my husband and my daughter. So we kind of had to be his buddies now. So it's really been a lot of fun over the last couple of years.
Okay. I love football too. My father played, my brother played, and my nephews and my 13-year-old son play. And we're all big football fans. So I get it. I do understand that. Michelle, before we dive into exactly what you do as Vice President of Volunteers for the New York, New Jersey Super Bowl Host Committee and why volunteering to join the huddle is so critical, I should probably mention that this event is for Super Bowl 48 at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, February 2nd, which is days from now. And this is where the best of the NFL divisions, AFC and NFC, American Football Conference and National Football Conference, respectively, go head-to-head for the ultimate championship. The win, the ring, and the Vince Lombardi Trophy. This Super Bowl is an exciting event, and there are lots of responsibilities. What are the conditions that you're hoping for before we even get into the responsibilities?
I would like a little bit of snow, but just a little flurry.
That
would be perfect.
That would be beautiful coming down in MetLife Stadium. Let's talk about your involvement in this worldwide watched event and how people can get involved.
Sure.
What is your role as Vice President of the New York, New Jersey Super Bowl Host Committee, and exactly what are you responsible for?
Well, I'm responsible for the volunteer program, which is going to be one of the largest volunteer programs ever for a Super Bowl.
Really?
So it's big. So what we're doing is we're recruiting over 15,000 volunteers.
Wow.
And what we're responsible for is recruiting them, training them, uniforming them, figuring out the most effective place to position them so that they can be here to meet and greet visitors in the region.
Wow. Okay, so when you say placing them effectively, are there specific locations that volunteers will be needed?
There are, and especially because we're so big, if you think of the footprint, so it's New York and New Jersey.
Okay.
We want our volunteers to be at all the airports in the region, so that's 3 major airports and smaller ones as well, at transit hubs in the area, Newark Penn Station, Port Authority, and then hotels in the area, tourist destinations, and Super Bowl Boulevard. So there's a lot going on.
Wow, Super Bowl Boulevard, that sounds exciting. What about inside MetLife Stadium? Are volunteers going to be needed there?
We don't anticipate that we're going to need volunteers inside the stadium.
Okay. And so obviously you just mentioned that there'll be volunteers needed in both New York and New Jersey. Are there any specific time frames in which volunteers need to anticipate being at these locations?
Yeah, the exciting thing about the Super Bowl is it's bigger than just the day of the game. So it's really that whole week.
Okay.
So we're starting out with Media Day, which is going to be here in New Jersey on Tuesday, January 28th.
Okay.
So that will be in Newark at the Prudential Center.
Okay.
We want volunteers that day.
Okay.
And we anticipate that people will be arriving all week long. So we'll also need volunteers at the airports and at transit hubs, starting from that Monday, January 27th, all the way through, and actually even after the game. We'd love to have volunteers at the airports to say goodbye to visitors on that Monday, February 3rd.
That's exciting, and that's a lot of work. So obviously 15,000 people to be on the ground, to be the first point of contact for the whole New York, New Jersey Super Bowl host committee. That's pretty significant. Will volunteers be receiving Super Bowl tickets on the 50-yard line or anywhere else?
That is the most popular question I get. And no, volunteers will not be receiving tickets to the Super Bowl.
Okay, that's important information to have. Volunteers are going to be needed in a lot of significant places, and so that's very important in of itself.
Absolutely, and we really need volunteers to be the host ambassadors in the region, so that's how they can be a part of this exciting event.
Right. Coming up next, we're going to get into details about how people can get involved and join the Huddle, and Michelle is going to share with us some very important facts that volunteers would need to know.
Now it's time for This Week in Bad Stats.
Bad stats?
Horrible stats. Here goes. 132.
That's how many batters struck out 4 times in one game last season.
Wow, very good. Here's a tough one, though. 3 and 4.
No idea.
That's how many kids witness bullying. 3 out of 4.
That's not a good stat.
No, it's not, but it can change. Kids want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov and give them the tools they need to help prevent bullying.
There are plenty of safe ways kids can help at stopbullying.gov.
Welcome back to Join the Huddle. I'm Deirdre Malloy, and I'm joined by Michelle Rankin. So, Michelle, this is an exciting event regardless of whether people get tickets into the Super Bowl or not. Just to be a valuable part of this worldwide event should be good enough. So if people don't get tickets, exactly what's in it for the volunteers?
Well, we see volunteering for something like the Super Bowl as just such a wonderful chance to be part of a historic, unique event. And that's the reaction that we've gotten from the universities that we've spoken to, the corporations that we've spoken to, and just citizens who just really want this opportunity to be part of something that's never been to the New York, New Jersey region.
That's great. I understand that there's a local university that's supporting.
Local universities have been fabulous. So
Okay.
Montclair State has been just a great partner. We've are working with a number of different universities
Okay.
in New York and New Jersey, and they've been fabulous. They just see this as a great opportunity to get their students involved in something that's really right at their doorstep.
You know, it really is a great opportunity. You just, don't come across being a volunteer for the Super Bowl host
Exactly.
committee, New York, New Jersey Super Bowl host committee every day. So let's really talk about how people can get involved and join the Huddle. How can people register?
Well, people can go to our website, www.nynjsuperbowl.com,
Okay.
and they can sign up today. In fact, I hope they do.
Okay.
And it's we've tried to make it as easy as possible for people to register. They'll give their name and address and other pieces of information. It's an account, so they actually can go in and update it.
Okay.
And that's also how they'll be ultimately identifying where they would like to volunteer and when.
Okay, that's good information. So speaking of signing in and becoming a volunteer, what are the requirements to become a volunteer?
People have to be over 18 as
Okay.
of November 1st, 2013, so that's number one. They have to be willing to undergo a security clearance process, so they'll have to give us some personal information
Okay.
that we need in order to just make sure that they'll be cleared to volunteer. And then it's more about their personality. We're
Okay.
really looking for people who are outgoing, enthusiastic, and really want to help host this event for the region.
Okay, that's great. So is there any expense to the volunteer in registering?
No, signing up is free. So
Okay.
as I said, people can go to the website and do that now. They will actually have they'll receive a volunteer uniform, and that will be theirs to keep.
Oh,
So they
wow.
should wear that during the course of whenever they're volunteering, but
Okay.
that'll be theirs to keep. We're
Okay.
not unveiling it yet,
Okay.
but I think people will be very happy with it.
So that's a cool what's in it for me.
Absolutely.
An
Something
official
very
volunteer
tangible.
uniform. That's great. So besides that, is there any training for volunteers?
There is. So all our volunteers will need to go through training because we want to make sure that they're informed and have information that, one, so that they're aware, but also that they can help our visitors. So we will have all the volunteers go through a 1 hour, we'll have to go through a 3-hour training session,
Okay.
but just one time.
Okay.
And we'll have a number of locations in both New York and New Jersey in the evenings and weekends to try to make it as easy as possible for people to find a session that works for their schedule.
Okay, that's very convenient. And, you know, having a training obviously is important, an important part of this process so that people are not only knowledgeable about the whole organization and the volunteering, but ideally you want people to be knowledgeable about the location they're going to volunteer
Yes,
at.
absolutely. And that is a big component of it as well. Absolutely.
So in the different locations, can people select where they want to volunteer, or will they be assigned specific places that they're needed more so?
We're going to offer all the different range of volunteer opportunities, and then
Okay.
people would select what they're interested in. So if they would like to volunteer at an airport, Newark Airport, say, because they live in New Jersey, and that would be convenient for them, they'll be able to identify that as their preferred location.
That's great. So besides individual volunteers, is there a sign up for maybe groups or corporate volunteering?
There is. So if people are interested in a corporation, they can register. They'll have to ultimately register individually.
Okay.
But if they would like to have a critical mass of people volunteer together, really 50 plus and over is what we're
Okay.
looking for. They can go to volunteers at nynjsuperbowl.com and just say, I work for X corporation and
Right.
I'd like to sign up as a group. And that's fine. We welcome that as well.
Okay. And how quickly will people hear back on whether or not they've been selected to be a part of the volunteer process, or volunteer team, I should say?
Well, people are signing up. People have been actually signing up for the past year. So we've had our
Really?
website up and running since last
Wow.
July 2012.
Okay.
But now we're getting to the point where we're farther along in the planning.
Okay.
So as people volunteer, I would say within the next month or two, we'll have the complete list of potential volunteer roles available, and people can select what they'd like to do.
Okay, that's great. So you definitely want people to go
Absolutely.
to the website and to register themselves and begin that process, because soon, as the time gets near,
Time's ticking away.
yeah, you know, volunteer teams are going to be trained and assigned and things of that nature. So, you know, time is of the essence.
It is.
Okay, is there any other way to join the Huddle besides that?
Well, the volunteering is certainly so important. So we're really looking for everyone in New York and New Jersey who's interested to sign up. There will be other opportunities as well. We have a blood drive that we've been running in New York and New Jersey. So that's another way that people can give back too.
Okay, that's really great. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's
here
been my
today
pleasure.
And just sharing with everyone how they can join the Huddle with the New York, New Jersey Super Bowl volunteer program. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Deirdre Malloy.